You've counted every calorie, tried every diet, spent hours in the gym, and still something's missing. You want more than just weight loss. You want your energy back. You want your confidence restored. You want a way of living that doesn't feel like punishment. Welcome to Master Your Metabolism, where we cut through the noise, ditch the fads, and give you a real plan to become the healthiest, strongest version of you. Hosted by our team of expert coaches with proven strategies, science-based tips, and real-life encouragement, not just to help you lose fat, but actually create that lifestyle that you love. You've tried everything. Now, let's try what actually works. This is your turning point. Let's go. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Master Your Metabolism. I am here today with Coach Megan. How are you, Megan?
I'm good. Cold.
Freezing her ass off right now, I would say. Getting ready for the storm, the winter coming. So, today's topic I wanted to touch on because I'm hearing it a lot more. And I know you are having a lot of clients that are struggling with this. So, being in healthcare, I think that people don't realize, especially those that are in healthcare, in the moment that they're in it, they constantly think about taking care of others and doing for others. And before they know it, people are coming to us like, oh my gosh, I have all this going on and really have no idea why and how they got there. So I would love if you kind of shared your story and where you started, what brought you here, because you have been in healthcare for quite some time. So just kind of talking about how you got to the point now of where you're a coach. And then I figure we can also share along the way some things that can help people, things they need to keep in mind. And so that way, people that are listening would be able to get some benefits and understand how they can take care of themselves when they are in that type of position.
Yeah, I think this is going to hit home for a lot of people, and honestly not just healthcare workers, because a lot of this applies to mom life
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
But so my story is I have been in healthcare since 2011, so going on 15 years now. I mean, a lot has happened over the last 15 years, and in general, since 2020. Healthcare changed a lot since 2020. But me starting out, when I started, I was not married. Life was very different. And then shortly into my career, that's when I did get married and then started to have kids. With that, you have that shift then, just that motherhood shift where you kind of do put yourself on the back burner a little bit because you have a family to take care of. You're mama bear. You're wanting to make sure everybody else is good and taken care of. And sometimes that means that you don't take care of yourself. So years kind of went by because I had 3 kids like back to back to back. And, it came to about, gosh, when did I start with you guys? 2022, actually. And I was a little different with COVID. A lot of people with COVID, they went the route of, I'm going to sit in the house, I'm going to eat, I'm going to drink, I'm not doing anything. And a lot of people gained, a lot of unnecessary weight during that time period. I kind of was the opposite. I'm like, you know what? We have all this extra time. We started building a home gym because, everything closed. And I was like, let's get to work. Like, started working out more than I was. And I come from being an athlete my whole life. So I was like, just earning to get back to myself and what makes me feel good. Getting back to that. And then I started with you guys in 2022, just really wanting to take it up a notch. Like, let's get even more serious. Let's really dial in the nutrition, the working out piece. I've done that for a long time, but the nutrition is the hardest part. I mean, for most people.
Absolutely.
So started doing that. And I mean, I really just personally saw a shift, when you are fueling your body with foods that are going to make you feel good, you produce things better. Like, I was a better mom. I had more energy, less fatigue. And then, I was better to be around, I had, again, just more energy. And you can see the difference when you start just eating a little bit better. It doesn't mean that you got to make this entire shift and you can't still have the treats every once in a while and things like that. But a majority of your foods, coming from those proper whole foods, right? And then this kind of people at work, they start noticing, like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
you have more energy at work. Like, and I worked night shift and for all of these years. So that's adding another stressor on the body that's not normal. Your body is not meant to stay up all night. It's not meant to work 12-hour shifts, which really are like 14 by the time you
Yep.
get there, you get report, and then when you're leaving, you give report. It's not, but that's not normal. That's not, we're not built to do that. But people, they start noticing. They start noticing the changes. They start noticing your body changing. Like, they can visually see that. And, you start talking to people and you just let them know, hey, this is what I'm doing. Like, and they notice the foods that you're eating, during work, or the fact that you're not living on energy drinks and coffee, it just gets other people thinking, right? And then they start asking questions. And that's where I really wanted the coach piece to come in. So, I've been coaching with you guys for a couple years now, and coming from the healthcare perspective, like nurse, we love the science behind everything, right? But in a bigger regard to everything, like, I want to make people better. I want to make them feel better. I want to improve their health. I have worked in oncology for, the 15 years. So I see people at sometimes their worst, and they're going through a lot. It's emotional. There's a lot of things going on, in that time in their life. And I want to help people so they don't get to that point, or they've done it's still going to happen. Genetics are still a thing, right? Ever. But if we can stop some of these things from happening or lessen the things, like, let's do that. So I wanted to help people before they get sick, preventative medicine, and not just, out here in the pharmaceutical companies just, pushing the pills, right? But to really almost heal them from the inside, because that's what getting the proper nutrition and the proper supplements and whatnot is doing. So I know a lot of people a lot of my clients are in the same type of field, whether they're in healthcare. I have a few that are in healthcare. And I think, there's a lot of relating within that, because, we're working 12-hour shifts. Some work night shifts, some don't. But even a day shift, when you're working those 12 hours, again, our bodies are not meant to work a 12-hour shift, regardless if it's day or night, but just being able to work with them on, what are some ways we can make it through this shift? Let's make sure we're looking at the foods you're bringing to work. Are you taking a break? Because oftentimes it's so busy at work that we're too busy taking care of the people that we don't sit down and have a bite to eat or drink water or even go pee during the 12-hour
I
shifts.
hear that all the time. I hear that all the time from people that are working for 12, like, I didn't have time to pee. I didn't have time to eat. I'm like, "Hey, girl, like, there are kind of laws that you have to. So I get it. Like, you get behind, you don't want to, all of a sudden start drowning. But what are some tips that you give for people that do tell you that do tell you, like, listen, I didn't have time. I have people that, like, my OR nurses or things like that. Like, what are some suggestions that you give people that are going through those types of situations, that they're working long hours, they don't have time to eat, or they don't have the ability to go to the bathroom? What are some tips and things that you do tell them?
I think a big one, and again, this can relate to more than just healthcare, asking for help when you need it. I see this a lot of times with, like, newer nurses coming in. I want to know when you need help before you're drowning. Now, if you're starting to feel overwhelmed or starting to get behind, okay, phone call, what can I do for you? When you're already drowning, that it's too late. So recognizing that, when you're starting to go under, when you're starting to get overwhelmed, and ask for help. whether that's a nurse that's working beside you, your group beside you, or your charge nurse or supervisor, whoever that may be, like phone a friend, okay? I know I can speak for where I work is, a lot of times, especially at night shift, because, it's day and night, right? There's a lot less people there at night. So a lot of times, yeah, we are eating, at the desk, or we're sipping some water at the desk. You're getting in a bite here and there when you can. But looking at the types of food that you are fueling yourself for the shift, especially at night. You probably don't want to be eating a large like pasta meal before you're coming to work. You're probably going to get tired, so make sure you're getting in plenty of protein before the shift. And then that really is a good primary food to eat even during the shift. Again, you don't want those sugar spikes because that's going to make you just tired during the shift. There was something else I was saying, and where was I going?
Yeah, for the long shifts also of, they have 12-hour shifts. So they get called in all of a sudden and their days get kind of
Yeah.
discombobulated and they don't know what to do. Like, should I just hold off on eating? Should I eat a little
Yeah.
bit more? Should I shove all my meals all in at once? Those are
Yeah.
some of the questions I hear.
And I know another one I had with one of my clients was, she worked in, it would be like an OR, IR type of situation, right? Where it's like, well, I can't step out and eat, because I'm in a case and the case is 8 hours long. It's like, what I suggested, and this is trial and error because you may not find the right thing that works for you the very first time, right? Try to front load when you wake up. You have, a 20 ounce of water and you're just downing it right when you wake up, right? That way you've got some time then. Okay, I have some time that I can go to the bathroom before I have to go into this case. So you don't get in the middle of the case and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to pee and I can't go anywhere. And two, loading up then, eating a really good meal before you're starting your shift because that should then last you for a good couple hours, right? And this doesn't mean maybe a 200 or 300 calorie meal. You might have to eat a larger meal. If I'm going to have an 8 hour case and I'm not going to get to eat, yeah, that might have to be a larger meal for that time. But just kind of preparing yourself for that shift. So, like I said, drinking plenty of water beforehand, eating beforehand, but give yourself plenty of time because, especially in that OR type situation, yeah, it is hard. You can't get out of the case, during the middle of it. If you're on a floor type situation, it might be, to your neighbor beside of you, hey, can you take my phone for 15 minutes? Like it might not even be 30, right? But 15 minutes. I just need to run and sit down and eat something real quick. And if you're able, taking yourself off the floor and really being able to go sit down and really taste your food, you're kind of decompressing off. And like I said, even if it's only 15 minutes, it's better than nothing. And I know that's hard sometimes, and I think too, if you are every shift, you're having problems with time management and you're feeling every shift overwhelmed and you never have time and isn't every shift type of thing, then I think there's something bigger that, we have to look at. Like, what is your time management? Because it can't be in every shift.
Right.
There are crazy shifts and it's going to happen. Like, there's no way around it. But if that's happening every single shift, then we got to look at something else.
Right. What about timing? Like, because it's hard for me to wrap my head around, but I'm just looking at, from a health standpoint, right? My concern is that, like, switching from days to nights and you're messing with that circadian rhythm. And that's something, the reason we see a lot of health issues with shift workers, with people in healthcare, is because you are now training your body 3 days of the week that you are working nights, flipping to days. So you're eating in the evenings and not during the days. And then those other days, you're flip flopping it the other way. So you do kind of mess your circadian rhythm. So is it something that is better for people to work three in a row and then have time off? Is it better to kind of go back and forth? Like, what do you find is probably the healthiest way to go about that if they are able to manage that?
Yeah. For me, what worked, and again, trial and error, because what works best for me might not work best for someone else. But you have to be open to trying some new things, because if what wasn't working before, this is why you came to us for coaching, it's not working. So we have to try something else, right? But what I did with the whole flipping, back and forth nights shift and then trying to be a normal human being, I would take my timing from midnight. So that was a new day. And until midnight the following, 11:59, that night, that's my 24-hour clock. A lot of people, if you're a daytime person, that would be like when you wake up. I mean, let's say it's 6 a.m. and you would go like 6 a.m. to 6 a.m., right? But for someone who's kind of flip flopping, I found that's what worked best for me. So, like on a night where I am working, I would generally eat a meal somewhere around like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So that if I was working, that's my clock. My clock restarted at midnight. That's meal one for me. And then I would have, say breakfast when I got home. There's meal two. I'd go to sleep. And if I'm back, I'd try to sleep as much sleep as I can. And then when I woke up, I would have meal three. And that would usually be my biggest meal. And that's before going to work, right? So I'm fueling my body then for that shift. And then I'd usually have another meal, because I would usually eat at least 4 meals while I'm at work, somewhere around like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. So essentially, if you really do look at it, I was eating about every 3 to 4 hours approximately, around the clock. And then come midnight, all right, now I'm on my next day. So for me, I always had that. So I wasn't really like, oh, well, okay, my clock is starting at 6 a.m. some days and it's starting at midnight other days. I was still the times never changed, just maybe my meal time that I ate, because if I'm a normal human being one day, I'm not eating at 2 or 3 a.m. I'm going to eat my 4 meals at the normal people time, but it's still the 4 meals and it's still getting in a 24-hour period. It's just period is a little different.
Got it.
Yeah. So that's what I found worked best for me. But again, everyone's a little different. Now, when we talk about how to work your shifts, like 3 in a row, splitting it up, that I think is really dependent on the person. And I will say, as I could probably do 3 in a row when I was younger and
Yeah.
I was fine, right? And I could make it through. Now, it is much better on the sleep, right? Because you do get in a little like 3 days where you're on the same schedule. So in regards to sleep pattern, yes, the 3 in a row is definitely different. As I got older, though, I found that the 3 in a row, actually, I didn't recover very well from
Right.
3 in a row.
Right. Right. That makes sense.
Because yeah, and when I would sleep in between shifts, I would usually be sleeping maybe 6.5 hours, and that's like a normal sleep when I'm working, but that is not what I need to function on.
Right.
Um, I am one that I like my sleep, so I feel good with like at least 8 hours. So if I'm going 3 shifts in a row and I'm only getting 6 hours of sleep and I'm
Mm,
doing that, multiple days in a row, then I'm not really recovering that well. So, and, when you throw kids in the mix, I mean, it's like I wouldn't see my family for 3 days, because, I mean, you go to work, you come home, sleep, and you go right back to work. There's no downtime. There's no like, okay, yeah, unless there's a, baseball game or a soccer game, and I got to wake up even earlier than I wanted to, because I don't want to miss out on the soccer game, so then that's taking more sleep from me, the less recovery. But you make sacrifices, especially like I said, when you are a mother and then you throw in the healthcare piece, like you don't want to miss all the things, for the kids. So, sometimes that would happen. But I think you have to look at how you function. And like I said, I tell new grads when they start too, I said, don't, try a schedule, but you got to give it a good bit to like really try it. You can't try it 1 week and say, this didn't work.
that's
It's going to take longer than that for your body to adjust, for you to feel comfortable with it. But try the 3 in a row and
yeah.
see how you feel, see how it affects your life, see how, all the other things work. And if it's too much, then yeah, you might have to do like, okay, well, I'm going to work 2 shifts, back to back. And then maybe I'm going to have 2 shifts off or 3 shifts off maybe, and then 1, and then you have a chunk off in between, and then you work 2 again. Like, so you have a little bit of time off in between. And that's what I usually did just personally because I didn't want to go 3 days and like
Yeah.
not see my family. And then,
Yes.
they complain about it too because the boys would be like, "Oh, we didn't see you for 3 days. What'd you do?" Like, you know, they're missing their mom too. So,
Yeah. And that's part of it
yeah,
also because that is another, again, just one more area of stress that I don't think people in healthcare realize that your stress isn't just, hey, I'm stressed out over bills, right? Your stress could be lower sleep. Your stress could be poor eating habits. Your stress could be, that you don't get to see your family, the guilt that you feel. Like, I think these things are huge and people just kind of blow it off and just say, well, it just is what it is. But you also have to make that priority and saying, okay, what can I do? Like, is it something that I need to make sure that each month, hey, I take, a week off, right? Or I make my schedule so I have a full week so that I can have that time and spend some quality time with my kids and make that time with my family or do something for myself that I can keep things balanced because with every push, you need some type of recovery, just like we do with nutrition, just like we do with, training. And we were just talking about this. You can push hard in the gym, but you always need that deload. You always need that time to recover. You need a day off. You push really hard for a leg day, you take the next day, you feel it, your body needs that recovery. So, understanding that balance that needs to happen is really essential because I see a lot of people that just push it off and push it off. And then all of a sudden, now, oh my gosh, like I'm starting to have some health issues. Oh my gosh, my A1C is going up. Oh my gosh, my cholesterol is up. Oh my gosh, like I am now pre diabetic. I have my inflammatory markers are up. It's like, yeah, like you
yeah,
pushed your system hard enough and you didn't feel it, but it's still something even if you're, like, used to it because that's how it is, you still have to
yeah,
pay attention. Otherwise, you're gonna wind up in a mess of issues. It's not so easy to fix when your adrenal glands finally are like, "I'm done, I've had enough," and then you're not gonna be able to care for anyone.
yeah,
Like, you
exactly.
are gonna get to that point that you're not gonna be able to be the mom that you wanted to be. You're not gonna be able to be that caretaker that you were trying to be because now you have to your body will force you to
Right.
shift that focus on, "Hey, you didn't listen. I tried sending you all the signals. Now it's time to pay attention." So, it is really helpful. And, whenever we get new clients that are, applying for coaching and we talk to them, they tell me they're either shift workers, they're moms, there are nurses, they work 12-hour shifts, whatever it is. I always pair them with you or Whitney or someone who understands that type of situation because, like you said, there's different tools that you can use and there's different ways that you can plan things. And I think having a coach that understands that aspect because you went through it yourself. You didn't just go through like, hey, I got healthy, I started eating right. You did jump on stage. That's great. But you also went through the, oh my gosh, my body eventually said, we've had enough.
Yeah,
And you did
yeah,
have to deal with those issues and pay attention and do the things. And that's hard.
yeah,
That's hard
yeah,
for caretakers to then say, "Okay, I know. I gotta
yeah.
do this for myself now."
Yeah, and I was actually gonna bring that up is, and because this is something that I'm actually going through right now is really a body recovery phase. Like, yes, I have stepped on stage, but this past prep that I did, my body was like, "Nope, nope." It fought the whole way through, and, there was a lot of stress and a lot of the normal stressors, they hadn't changed. I mean, yes, there was some other stressors that were on top of that, a couple family losses and things like that. But I think it was really just over time. I mean, 15 years of night shift and shift work and things like that. And it was just like, okay, we did blood work after I competed. And I mean, my cortisol was like through the freaking roof.
Which was not terrible because at least it's because that's what'll happen. It'll go through the roof till eventually it no
Yes.
longer responds, and then you
Responds.
flatline, and then
Yes.
it's terrible.
And, thank God we did do that. And honestly, if my body would have cooperated through the prep, right? We wouldn't have really said, something is not right. Something else is going on. So, when we talk about signs, red flag, like something is going on. And, you have to sometimes just take a step back and figure the problem out. And then you have to deal with it because, like you said, if you don't deal with it, then bigger and badder things are going to come of it. Thank God we found it before my adrenals said, "Hey girl, like I'm gone. I'm not going to work anymore." And so that, now we're recovering. We're working on this. We're fixing the problems. We'll then repeat some blood work at a later time and kind of gauge, okay, where are we at? Where do we still need to go moving
Right.
forward?
Yep. Yep.
But sometimes you just have to take that step back, and that's okay because, when we think about our health journey, it's not linear. It's not going to always be this nice line.
Much as we'd
It's
love it.
we would love it, right? Everyone would love it. Coming from a coach and from like the other side of it as well. We would totally love it. But that's not real life. So things happen in life, stressors happen, life happens. So and it's okay to recognize that. And it's okay if you have to take a step back and focus on more of the recovery piece, and you can't go like full steam ahead. But if you take the time and you step back and you fix whatever it is, then you will be able to go full steam ahead when it's right, when it's the right time.
And, I think that's part of it also is that you deal with stress on such a regular basis. And when your cup is so full, anything else is going to tip it over. Anything else. I saw this really cool, it was a video somewhere that I saw that showed this balloon that was completely blown up, like to the max. So when the pin came, it popped, right? Because the system was so overloaded. But if you manage your stress and have a way that you have an outlet, you don't have that feeling of, oh my gosh, your world is about to explode all the time. And it was like the balloon was not as full when the pin hits that, like it never ruptured it
Mhm.
because it still had some flexibility. It
Right.
still had that ability. So understanding that, hey, great, you're handling the 12-hour shifts, the kids, the everything else. But what happens when a family member gets sick? What happens when your kid needs something or something goes on? Like now you're at your max and there is no room for that. So, again, keeping in mind your stress levels, keeping in mind how it can impact your health, I love the part that you were talking about. Like there are different ways that you can implement things into your schedule with your food, with your training, and understanding that if you have somebody there to say, okay, let's try this. Cool. Let's take the data from the week. How did it go? What went well? What was still a challenge? Okay. Now this week, let's try this. Like that is another part of coaching, having somebody there to be able to help you problem solve and figure out how to keep going towards where you're going. Maybe not that straight shot down, but understanding what to do to course correct to continue moving in the direction where you're headed. So, I definitely know that you've had a lot of clients that are super helpful and, using some of those strategies that you give. So definitely, if there's somebody out there that is finding that they keep trying and they can't or they fail, it's not that you're failing. The strategy that you're using might need to be tweaked. And there may be things that you don't really know how to do. Like, I don't have certain skills in certain areas. So I find someone that has those skills and I learn from them. So it's the same type of thing that if you really do want to change your health, you really do want to change your body composition, you really want to do something now, find somebody, find a coach, find a person, an expert in that area that you can work with, that you trust, that understands so that they can help to guide you. So,
Absolutely.
all right. So, Megan, thank you, thank you, thank you for all this. I hope
Yes.
any of you out there that are shift workers or in healthcare, I hope this helped. We would really appreciate it if you would share a review and follow us and subscribe so you can hear all the new episodes that come out. So till next time, thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll chat soon. Ciao. Thanks for tuning in to Master Your Metabolism. If you found value in today's episode, it would mean the world to us if you'd hit subscribe and share this episode with someone who could use a little guidance in their health journey. Ready to take the next step? Head over to www.mastersfitnesscoaching.com and you can book a free call right from the site so we can chat about your goals and how we can help support you. Don't forget to join our Facebook group where we're sharing coaching tips, support, and tricks to help keep you on track and continue making progress. You don't have to do this alone. We're here to walk with you every step of the way. Until next time, stay consistent, stay kind to yourself, and keep mastering your metabolism. Let's do this together.